All right, there we go. Hey guys, and welcome to the not social but physical distancing hangout. I hope you're doing fine and you're safe wherever you are. Have washed your hands and, well, I'm not really sure what we're going to do today. Uh, Hopefully, write some music and also just have a little bit of a chat. So if you want to just ask your questions and um yeah, let's just jump in and see. I want to go through a little bit of my template. Status April 2020. um it's not even April, it's March 31st here. But anyway, long story short, um let's talk a little bit about my current template. So the initial aim, that's a big template. Initial aim is to cover as much ground as possible for me working on various briefs for production music uh, in a vast amount of different styles. So I have quite a lot loaded within the template to have everything accessible at once. Uh, in case you're wondering, in terms of hardware, using my main machine, the one you're looking at right now, and I have two slave machines upstairs, actually in what's it called? In a closet. That's my tech room. One is my mobile rig, my laptop, with 64 gigs of RAM, and the other one is AMD Threadripper with 128 gigs of RAM, and this machine is an Intel i9 with also 64 gigs of RAM. V Pro on all three systems, and yeah, pretty much ready to go and ready to rumble. I got a new mic. I hope that the audio is better than it was in the streams before. So hopefully no more issues with the voiceover being too quiet. I hope that the breathing noises are not too distracting. I try to filter as much as I can on this one, and I'm still fiddling a little bit around what's the best angle for the mic to sit at. Um, so yeah, let's open up everything here and see what we have. That takes a little bit. That's actually the longest process, to hit a key and open all the folders. There we go. So this is pretty much all the instruments that are loaded within the template. It's quite a bit, to be honest. I just realized that there is still something that is not meant to be open, which is the Vst Instruments. So, so right now, yeah, it's like 1600 MIDI tracks with for the most part, one articulation per track, but there are a few key switch patches as well, where it just wasn't feasible to do single articulation patches. I just realized that I need to move the chat a little bit so we are able to see better what's happening there. Feel free to say hi, to ask your questions if there are any. If you have suggestions what we are going to do today in terms of writing, because I have no idea right now. I've been writing all day today, and so this is more a little bit of a casual hangout. You sound expensive. Oh, that's good. Um, Good to hear. I like that. Um, I mean, the mic channel has a decent amount of processing on it, to be honest. So when we look at the voiceover channel, uh, this is what's in there. So we have the denoiser to get little bit rid of the room noise. We have a gate that pretty much reacts and hopefully filters unwanted noises. Then a little bit of vocal compression. It's not doing too much, but it gives a little bit of beef. A little bit of filtering for the like a de-esser. And last but not least, just a little bit of EQ. Actually wanted to give me a little bit more bass. So that might be even a little bit better. No, that's too much. So I hope that's fine. Anyway, yeah, so in case you're curious on the signal chain on the voiceover, this is what's happening there. And what I also did is I put a key command. In this case, it's Shift and Space to mute the mic. So just hit Shift and Space and that mic is muted. That's pretty cool. So in case I don't want you to hear what I'm saying, do you use some software like Soundflower to capture DAW sounds? No, I don't. I am in the lucky position that the interface that I use, which is the RME Babyface, supports a rerouting or a loopback, which means the ASIO stream that gets sent out, I can send that back into the Windows audio. Since I'm on PC, not on a Mac, I don't have Soundflower. So luckily, I can internally route the audio and have OBS, which I'm using for the screen capture, see the actual audio stream, which is coming back as Windows audio. So if that were not the case, there is software that can help you doing that. So just in case you haven't heard about it, it's called Voice Meter Banana. And that pretty much is a third-party software that kind of gets on top of your audio stream, of your ASIO stream. It's a little bit complicated to set up, but actually the help is pretty good. And with that, you can route your audio within your Windows system any direction you want. So that way you can have the audio being able to be captured through screen recording software like OBS or any other kind of stuff. So Voice Meter Banana is the solution if your hardware doesn't support the loopback function like the RME interfaces do, for example. So hope that answers your question there. Join the Doom Eternal cover sound-alike gang. Okay. Raphael, hi, nice to see you. Good to have you around. Yeah, let's take a closer look at the template. So as I said, it's a kind of beep load of tracks that is obviously tough to navigate if you have it open all the time. So what I did, let's close all the folders here. What I did is set up different settings on my Stream Deck. You can't see the Stream Deck, I guess, in the camera window, but I can open that up to show you here what the buttons do. So I just use the open close folders, and then I have these buttons: show strings, show synth, etc. And when I hit these keys, what happens is that it opens up just the first folder of the strings for me. When I say show brass, it just opens up the first brass folder. And if I want to keep going from there, I can just open other folders if needed, or show Woodwinds. Well, that works great. Show Woodwinds doesn't work. Okay, I need to look into that. Show percussion, then show synth and piano, sound effects. Sound effects is not working either. Okay, good to know. Show ethnic, vocals. So that's pretty much it. So that's my kind of workaround to immediately access kind of what I want to work on next without scrolling endlessly through the template. So there's that. Let's take a look at the libraries I use. So pretty much, or let's talk about a little bit what this is. Since the instruments are all loaded in Vienna Ensemble Pro, there is not much in terms of changing the sounds, because when I change a sound in V Pro, like let's take a look at, for example, here. So that is my local Vienna Ensemble Pro instance. So when I want to change something in the GUI on that patch here and save the frame, then the next project that I open that uses the same template would have the changed sound instead of the initial sound. So there are some patches and tracks that change on a per project basis. So for every group, like strings, brass, woodwinds, etc., I usually have one or two instances of contact that are deactivated that I can easily activate with just one click. Yeah, when I activate it, mutes the mic. So, and these are kind of patches that I can play around within a specific project without worrying about changing anything in the template. So if I want to use some other sounds that are not part of the template, oftentimes that's drones or synth sounds. A lot of Omnisphere, for example, is usually sitting as a project-specific instrument in the template instead of V Pro. And then I can use these kind of sounds, change whatever I want to change to have different sounds available on the template that are not part of the V Pro template. So let's deactivate that again. And if I need more instruments, I just right-click and duplicate that track, and then I have the next one. But enough of the local, I call them local instruments. Let's look at what we have. So main string library for me is still Cinematic Studio Strings. I love them to bits. And this is, for example, one of these patches where I actually use the key switch version with expression maps instead of single instrument channels, because it's just way more convenient for me to work that way with Cinematic Studio Strings. The only thing where I have them differentiated is between longs and shorts. So and one thing that I really like about Cinematic Studio Strings is that you have the Cinematic Studio Strings ensembles and the Cinematic Studio solo strings, which are right here. And they use the absolutely same interface, same MIDI commands and everything, so that you can easily layer them and trigger both channels with the same MIDI channel. So what I did in the template is, let's just put down a quick short string passage here. So let's use the violins, 4 bars. Let's say we go with 100. And come on, what I want to do is spiccato and put that on the grid, of course. Something like that. Just a quick sketch. So maybe duplicate that with the violins too. I have them configured in a way that they are panned left and right in the so pretty much I swapped the stereo image on the second violins, so they are sitting on the right instead of on the left, which together sounds like this. So you can hear that the second violins are sitting way to the right. So, and another thing, and what I mentioned, that the solo strings and the ensemble strings sit on the same MIDI channel. I did create two volume sliders that lets me easily control the balance between the solo strings and the ensemble strings. So when I loop that section, and these faders are actually connected to my iPad here, so I can bring down the ensembles and just have the solos playing, or bring the solos all the way down and just bring them in a little bit to get a little bit of definition in the sound. So that's pretty convenient to mix that way and get a little bit more definition, especially on the shorts. I mean, right now they control shorts and long at the same time. So when I put a cello on top, let's do. Okay, so there's that. So that cello will be controlled as well. That's just the solo. That's the ensemble. And both. But yeah, it's still, I like the way of working to have that combined. Another thing that's also, I mean, that's typical for cinematic studio strings is that lag on the legato. So when I go to my expression map and actually tell it to use the advanced legato and see the velocity and hard quantize that to the grid. Do quarter notes. And when I select these notes, there is these three different negative delays to compensate for the legato. And these are commands that sit on shortcuts, so I can immediately bring the whole performance into the correct spot. So that's that. And then together again, it sounds like this. Turn the click off. And that's just the solo part. And without the solo. That actually gives me a lot of freedom to work with different sound settings and yeah. So let me get rid of this and let's see if I can find a better way to place the chat window. I think over here that might be good. Why do you have the second violins panned? Because it's kind of the modern approach to scoring, that you have the first violins on the left and the second violins on the right. And I just like to have more control on the stereo field. So I don't usually have that classical orchestra seating, but violins one left, violins two right, uh, light left center the violas, light right center the cello, and usually the bass I have sitting in the middle because especially for production music and stuff like that, you want to have the low end contained in the middle and be mono compatible. And when the basses are sitting all the way to the right, I think it just sounds weird. It sounds great in an orchestral context when you listen to a live performance, but for production music and stuff that I do, I prefer that way of panning and mixing to other ways of working with it. How do you keep track of library strengths and weaknesses? I struggle to remember which does what best if I haven't used them in a while. Do you keep notes? The only thing I can say is that knowing your sounds and your template takes time and practice and just utilizing and utilizing and utilizing. I'm pretty sure that I have tons of libraries on my system that I haven't really looked at in depth. I mean, right now, when we're all at home, there's a lot of time to spend on looking what libraries you actually have and what sounds, and explore some new areas of sounds that you may not have been looking in closely before. So if you have some downtime, I do that whenever I have some downtime between projects or anything. I usually just play around with libraries, check out libraries. I mean, obviously you buy new stuff and look at new stuff. But over time, you learn about what libraries are get you to the sound that you want. I don't have a general rule of thumb or recipe how you can best learn the strengths and weaknesses of your libraries. It's just a matter of just doing it and working with it. That's the best I can say there. Going further, I have a little bit of the good old LA scoring strings shorts. If I need some more direct sound, then I have the whole Metropolis Arc Series. I love these for various reasons. Most importantly, when you need the beef, you have Metropolis Arc 1 and 3. If you layer, for example, this short strings example with they just sound more dirty and more raw. I just love that sound, and you can layer them easily with other libraries. I mean, obviously, you know that right now we're talking totally unrealistic sounds. So we have the violins 1 and 2 playing the same. They're layered with the solo sounds, and we put the Metropolis Arc, which is, I don't know, 150 players. Something like that. You layer that on top, so it's an insane amount of actual players if you would translate that into real life. But honestly, I don't care. As long as it sounds good, it is good. And if I need that beef below the composition or the track, then that's why I have these patches available. So these are spread out into the non-key switch versions, which means one single MIDI articulation per track. Main reason being is the downside of using key switches is that you usually can only use one sound at a time. So if I had just one violin cinematic studio string patch and would want to use the longs and the shorts at the same time, like I did here, I definitely need two tracks. And with the Metropolis Arc Series, there's oftentimes I often encounter times that I want to use multiple sounds, like the Metropolis Arc 2 spiccatos, then maybe layer with Colegno. And so having all the individual MIDI channels just allows me to combine in any kind of way I please without the restrictions of the key switches. Cheers, by the way. Hope you have a nice glass of wine or something. I mean, not in Australia because it's early morning there. If you are watching from there. By the way, let me know where you're watching from. If you have questions, shoot them my way. I try to my best to answer them. What I also did, for example, on the Metropolis Arcs, on the just a little hint, in case you work with Metropolis Arc. Um, uh, my main controller for a lot of libraries is CC5, which main reason being is that a lot of libraries don't use CC5, so that one is usually available. And oftentimes, if I have patches that have time stretching capabilities or where you can stretch or shrink the sound, that is connected to CC5. And also, what I did on the Metropolis Arc series, I put CC5 on the control of the release of the samples so that I can make them more dry on demand. And bring that to the extreme, of course. So that's a great way of getting a lot of mileage out of the sounds. And also, usually for all the for all the Berlin libraries, I kind of use that is based on the Spitfire libraries that I have. They have their mic controls with CC22, 23, 24, 25. And I changed all my other libraries to utilize the same MIDI controllers. So when I go to Metropolis Arc, for example, go to, where is it? So this is my slave right here. So, and you see the release. So that's my CC5 right there. And also what I did is learn the mic positions the same way the Spitfire libraries work. So I can control my mic mix on the libraries from MIDI only. And if I restart the template from the beginning, it kind of resets these values to their initial state. So whenever I start with a new track, these little MIDI bits in the beginning usually define my instrument default state. So if we look at this MIDI bit here, the information we have is obviously velocity. There's nothing in there. Let me bring that up a little. So that's that little MIDI bit here. The initial, this patch has no mode wheel information, but expression is all the way up. There's no expression maps. The volume setting is for the contact patch. Panning is set from the get-go. Mic mix, this is what just set the mics to 0. Usually there should come up the CC5, which is the release time setting, and sustain if necessary. So yeah, that's my way of initializing a new cue whenever I work. So whatever I change after these MIDI bits here is track specific. And when I open that track the next time and work on a new track, this MIDI information in the beginning here initializes the template to the original sound that relates to my kind of template balancing. So yeah, Metropolis Arc, all the stuff, you know the sounds. And then the longs. So, all the good stuff. And same for Metropolis Arc 2. And hear that background noise. And wait a second. My dog is going crazy. The quintet sound from Metropolis Arc 3, and then the whole series of Metropolis Arc 4. I love these for having the smaller sections. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's going there. Okay. What else? Okay, Metropolis Arc. We did that. 1 and 4. Then I have the whole series of Time Micro and Macro. Love these sounds. If you're interested in more, I did a stream on these a while ago. Just look through my YouTube channel. There's some more sounds. I got the Berlin solo strings. In case I want to use these. Great for layering with the Metropolis Arc Series since they're recorded in the same room. I do have the Spitfire solo strings, which I like a lot, especially the performance legato patches. Great for nearly everything. They just sound amazing. I like them a lot. Then just a little bit Cinesamples solo string. By the way, these little dropouts and crackles that you hear are based on having the stream software running at the same time, so that's a little bit straining on the CPU overall. Tinaguo solo cello. And then some string effects. Some are preloaded in the template, the good old Symphobia stuff. And the same thing, what I mentioned before, we have the CC5 that controls the speed on these patches, for example. Or bring it up. And all the way down. Which obviously starts to produce artifacts. That works pretty great. And some Spitfire stuff, the chamber evolutions, always great. very great sound. Got some Spitfire Swarm. What key switch is that? Okay. Great for textural stuff. I actually do not have this one in there that's not connected. And this is one of the local patches where I can choose whatever kind of sound I need. On the last project, I just had some of these, the orchestra string risers loaded. So that was used there, or I could load some palette stuff from the effects. So that's pretty cool, especially effect sounds. These are usually not preloaded in various ways in the template, so I utilize them that way with the local instruments. Let me disable that. Okay, done. Next step, brass. Main brass library, meanwhile, for me is Junkie XL brass. I still have not done a dedicated stream on these, so that will follow soon. And great sounds there. Six horns, legato. Love the dynamics on these trumpets. And you can also play these together, which works pretty great. Very, very beefy. I like them a lot. So that's my main brass library. Then we go on a trailer brass for whenever we need to write some trailer stuff. I did miss a question there. Give me a second. Still trying to figure out the best way to wear that head mic without being straining on the ear. So trailer brass from music sampling. Then I have again the whole Metropolis Arc Series. And I think I haven't updated the reverb settings on this one. Yeah, exactly. Because I recently switched to, I watched a bunch of Alan Misen and Jake Jackson mix sessions. And I went over to have 2 reverbs per group section. So the impulse response and actually the Valhalla Room. Let's talk quickly about the reverb. For impulse response, I'm using the Slate. What's it called? Classic. Give me a moment. I can open that up in a second. Where is my effects channels? There we go. So, Verb Suite Classics, that's what it's called. And for the most part, I am using the Chicago Hall preset with 1.995 seconds and send the instruments to various degrees. And then as the algorithmic reverb, I'm using Valhalla Room, and I love the PCM Sulaco Hall preset in this one, set to 2.75 seconds. And they both together sound like this. Can even bring that up a little bit. Oh, actually, that's the wrong channel. So much for that. I was just wondering why there's no difference. Okay, once more. So, and depending on the sound, you can put more algorithmic or more impulse response reverb on it. That's without reverb. That's just the room sound of the initial sample in Metropolis Arc. I would bring down the room mic. All these are not connect the mics. Anyway, what I want to say is that gives a lot of freedom in shaping the sound in various ways. So you can use more of the algorithmic and less of the impulse response. Or less of the algorithmic and more of the impulse response. I personally really like that sound. So that's Metropolis Arc Brass, some time macro patches as well. And some brass effects. Again, good old Symphobia. Always great to have these in the toolbox. Even way overused, of course, especially in production music. Going further, showing the Woodwinds. Main Woodwind library is Berlin Woodwinds. I still have the old version, not the Revive. Still one of my favorite woodwind sounds. Again, time macro, some nice patches in here. Really like that. And some ensemble sounds, which is the good old Cinesamples Hollywood Winds. the runs, then Spitfire Swarm. I recently just put in the Albion Woodwinds. So in case I want to use these. Going further, next section, percussion. That's one of the biggest sections of the whole template, actually. Sitting on my slave PC. The whole percussion section makes use of pretty much all the MIDI channels available and all the output channels available in one instance. So this alone is quite a lot. Let me open up the folders here to see what we have. Oh, damn. That's quite a lot. But, I mean, you can never have enough percussion, right? So it's just what it is. Okay, so that's the whole percussion section. Starting with some epic stuff, Medusa. Did a stream on Medusa as well. Actually, that's a little bit wet for my taste. Need to bring that down a little bit. So there's that. And lots of other stuff. Medusa hits. Then we have the ADO Taiko. Love these. The whole ADO epic. Great stuff. Good old toms. They always find their way into the music one way or another. Audio Imperia Decimator, I think that's not available anymore. Very beefy. Damage. And in Damage, for example, I did the same as with the other orchestral instruments. So I can, let me bring up the, so that's my slave PC here. When I look at Damage, I can control all these mic channels with the same mic controls as the orchestral instruments. So and depending on the track I'm working on, I can really shape the sound without ever touching the GUI. Everything happens within the MIDI. So when I go back to Cubase and bring that track back to the beginning, you can see that it resets to the initial default values in that little MIDI info at the beginning. So that gives me a lot of freedom to have a lot of sounds within the same patch, so to say. So if I need more dry, then I just bring down the room. Well, that's pretty cool. Armageddon High. It's the same patch, I just split it into low and high. A lot of damage patches. You are all, I guess, way familiar with it. Especially on these metal ones, it's very good if you bring down the room and just use more of the close mic. Or the other way around, bring the close all the way down. pretty neat stuff there. And we have I mean, most of you guys, I guess you know these sounds in and out. Bowing effects, cymbal performances. Great for tension tracks. You have a drone running and then just hit one key of these. And you're on immediate tension land. I always love that cymbal rise in damage. That's pretty cool. So that's all damage. Then I have some of the loops from the Ensemble Drums. So they have the Ensemble Drums Woods, Ethnic Drums, and Metal. So these are some of the loops from there. If you need to get a job done quick and dirty, these are great for that. And you can combine them differently. So say you take the second stem from the metal ensemble and the third stem from the ethnic and the low stem from the woods. Thoughts on Gallimatias? Gallimatias? I don't know what that is. Please specify. So yeah, the damage loops. Then one of my largest portions, because I do a lot of production music, and obviously, hopefully you have heard about the label I'm working with, or the label that I have together with my partner Ram, DocuScores. So we have worked on a lot of world influence cues and stuff like that. So I have tons of world percussion in my template. And again, same thing. So these are the Evolution World Percussion, one of my all-time favorites, to be honest. And where is it? Where is it? Damage. World Percussion, there we go. So, and same thing, I did put all these microphone controls on the same sliders as my other orchestral libraries, so I can dial in the sound as needed just with MIDI alone. And these come with some loops, which is great as well. MIDI loops that give you an idea of the performance, because obviously you cannot know how all the instruments are played. So that's pretty cool. Really great sound there. I love the world percussion. Let's close this. Let's close this. So then we go on flying hand percussion from God, what's the name of the library? I want to do a stream about these as well at some point soon, but I missed a bunch of comments here. Sorry. Kelly Matthias. Okay, string producer. No, I haven't heard of him, so I need to check that out. D-Man, how you doing? Live with relatives. I do not have BBC Symphonic Orchestra, and honestly, I also do not intend on getting it. Relatives colleague tested COVID-19 positive. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's crazy times for sure. Wish you all the best. Stay safe. Who is Flying Hand Percussion? He sent it to me. And he told me that there's likely going to be an update and that we are looking into having it on a live stream. Handheld Sound, that's the company. Great library. Is actually pretty old already, but the sounds are out of the world and the playability is just amazing. So it's pretty much laid out that you play. If I open the MIDI here, so you can see that. It's laid out in a way like you play with two hands. So you have the same sounds starting on C3 and E3, and then it just spreads out in different directions. Pretty clever concept. So you can easily do pretty cool performances with it. Great library, shakers, plastic. The congas are great. Nice sounds in there. Yeah, that's another kind of world percussion, ethnic percussion thing. Then we go into the classic percussion. This is all the stuff you need. Starting with the Metropolis Arc stuff. Great thing about the Metropolis Arc Series, that's all laid out the same way, so you can combine various patches. Oh. System straining a little bit there. But you get the idea. Lots of sound. Then we have the Junk XL drum mix from Hans Zimmer Percussion. No mic mixes on these because I just used the stereo mix. Great sounds there. A little bit of Cineperc. Especially for the snares and stuff like that. A little bit more natural sounding. The gongs are pretty cool. If anyone, by the way, has recommendations, I'm still looking for a great gong library. Or if there are developers out there who are willing to look into that, I think that is something that is lacking. There is some great gongs in some of the libraries, like this one in Cineperc. That's pretty much one of the best that I've encountered. Then there is the Big Fang Gong in Ethno World 6, which is also pretty good. That one here. But all these effect sounds that you can do with sorry, just had to fix my mic a little bit. All these scratches and scrapes and stuff like that, and also the hits. I'm still looking for a really, really good gong library. So if anyone has recommendations, let me know. I know that there's another one in the Spitfire Percussion, which I unfortunately don't have. So maybe that's something to look into. But if any one of you has recommendations, much appreciated. Yeah, Cineperk, bunch of stuff. More, as I said, more natural sound. Then we have Strike Force, absolutely necessary tool in the box, especially when you layer all these sounds. If you need big and epic, I think there's no way around these. And mod wheel controls, but that's the initial setting of the library, controls the amount of room versus dry. Although dry is still very, very wet. Yeah. One of my favorite patches, the toms from Strike Force. Metal stuff. Just going through a bunch of these, and the snares are great as well. Albion 1 is a good suggestion. I have the Albion 1s here, the TAM. That's a good one. I still just feel that I need more. So if anyone has ideas with gong libraries, shoot them away. Strike Force. Yeah, other percussion. This is Loops de la Creme, the cymbal rolls. One of my favorite patches ever because these cymbal rolls are mod wheel controllable. And you have different cymbals. And you can combine these obviously to whatever you like. Great, simple patch that just does one job, but it does it very well. Yeah, Spitfire cymbals, Spitfire Albion 1 cymbals and gong. That's the other one I have in here. Some effect sound, Sample Hero, clock ticks and stuff like that. A little bit of pre-mixed set for Easy Drummer. Not much happening there. Only timpani I use at the time is the Hans Zimmer one. With, I think, a bunch of, yeah. The soft roll is really good on this one. This is Mellott Flux from Sonoscore, the Glock. And just once more as an explanation, so even some of these simple patches that don't necessarily have big mic controls or something like that, even on these patches where there's a microphone control, it is assigned to my first mic slider that I have. So I can change the sound as I need it, depending on the track I'm working on. There's Celeste. That's a little bit loud. So, I mean, template balancing is an ever ongoing process. And I can't remember the last time I actually used a xylophone in a track, so that might be the reason why that's not balanced well. So that's all mallet flux there. So, Cineperk tubular belts, then some more exotic type of that's the ADO Aura percussion. I think the Aluphone is just on sale for $18 right now. Again, handheld sound, the one we had before with a flying hand percussion. They also did a Mellotts library, one of the best marimbas I've ever heard. And also it has a neat function when you hold down the sustain pedal. Has kind of a little arpeggiator function there. Just realized that I forgot something here. These buttons are the delay compensation in Cubase. So when you record some MIDI, it actually lands on the one when you play the one and not bunch before. This is Loops de la Creme again. And this one the jaw harp, I actually put all 12 different keys on different MIDI channels. So depending on the key I'm working on, it doesn't work because it's actually based on the expression map here. Sorry. So I can tune it to whatever key I'm working on. Impact Soundworks Rhapsody is on sale. Think it has gongs. I do have Rhapsody. I would need to look into that, to be honest. I started implementing a little bit of Eduardo's Nada. Some of the meditation bell sounds. I need to put more of these. Harp, use Metropolis Arc 2, the 6 harp. I love that patch. It sounds really great. Well, that sounds really cool. And I just realized that I don't really have a good dedicated harp library. So I'm using the Project Sam one from Orchestral Essentials. Just realized that I'm a little bit behind with the stream. So that's a nice one. And then the Orchestral Tools harp from Symphonic Sphere. Maybe on one of the next sales, I will get the Spitfire Skanga harp. If you have other suggestions for good harp libraries, feel free to shoot them my way. Next section is sound effects. Sound effects, I do have some folders prepped for local audio files, especially for risers, hits, and stuff like that. Oftentimes, I tend to work with audio directly instead of fiddling with the placement with MIDI data. But nevertheless, there's also a bunch of MIDI stuff. We have drones. And you see there's a local instance of Omnisphere. If I need some drone stuff, I can fire up Omnisphere, the textures. Then let me refresh my window here. Twitch says the contact library harp is pretty good. I think that's the VSL one. So why is there... Okay, there we go, back on track. Yeah, drones, riser stuff. I just bought me FMG Ascendance, and it took me kind of 10 minutes to figure out where you actually change the length of these riser samples until I realized that this is 4 bars, this is 8 bars, and this is 16 bars. Very, very cool, clever little library that does exactly what it needs to do if you need risers. You're set. Especially string risers and stuff like that. And it's synced to your host tempo, so that's great as well. Very neat little library. Let me deactivate that. Hi, unfortunately, I cannot really read your name, so sorry for that. Whoever you are, hi. Sample Hero, Cinematic Rises, and Whooshes. One of my all-time favorites from Output Ref. Their risers, pretty cool stuff. Use these all the time. The good old Heaviosity Evolve stings. Especially these are throughout reality TV all over the place. Well, maybe not this one, but these. But they still do a great job for transitions. So they still have a place in my heart and in my template. Hybrid percussion hits, that's ATO, 88. Then we have Ensemble Drums. That section needs to be filled up more. This is not my regular trailer music template per se, so that's why it doesn't have a lot of these typical trailer sounds. So ATO Neo, some hits. Devastator, for the most part, some round robin hits. Keep Forest. Most of my hybrid stuff is actually Keep Forest. Might be the reason because they sent that stuff to me to do streams and stuff like that. So thanks, Keep Forest. But I also love their stuff. So non-paid testimonial right there. It's just freaking good. So next big section, since I do a lot of work for DocuScores for a label and lots of music for discovery type shows and Life Below Zero and things like that, I need a lot of ethnic sounding instruments without going too far world sounding. So we have Era, so Eduardo Tarolanti a lot. Different strum loops. These are from, I think, Celtic era. Then we have Reali Banjo is actually really cool from Reali Tone, Mike Green. They have some pre-made patterns when you play chords in the upper range, but you can also play it on your own. So that's pretty cool. Era Persia. And these are great. And they are tempo synced as well. I actually just recently stumbled upon these performances when I went through, back to the question, how do you know what libraries do you have? So when you have some downtime, it's really, really essential to go in detail and look at the patches that you have and kind of learn about what you have. There's no way around it than just playing it and just having a look and hopefully being inspired to write something with it as well. So lots of different sounds there. And these work also great if you substitute these with Graham Metcalfe. Hello from California. Hello from California as well. Where are you located? So that's the ethnic and Middle Eastern section with the Eduardo stuff in terms of plugin. And then we have good old Delta Blues slide. I think that's indigenous. Craig, good to see you. Sonoma County. Graham, hope you're safe out there. Craig, what's up? Just noodling around a little bit, having a little bit of wine, answering questions if there are some, and just going through the template a little bit, seeing what I'm using right now. The Dell Blue Slide is indigenous, I think. Let me check. Yeah, these guys. Indigenous, and that is the Delta Blues acoustic slide guitar. It's a nice, neat little library. Mountain Dulcimer is from the same company, Indigenous. The Resonator is also from Indigenous. Orange Tree Samples mandolin. Extremely playable. That's what I like about that library. RAM 70 mph on 10 still alive. That's good to hear. Where are we at? The Ron Rocco from Sample Phonics, I think. Very dreamy sound. I like that one a lot. And I think they also have in their library they have some pre-recorded loops, which are pretty great as well. This is the Vst Instruments hammered dulcimer. And then the Spitfire cymbalom, that's the old Contact version. They now have that in their own player. That's the free from their Labs range. Very great sound. Plug piano, same thing, Spitfire Labs range. And then I have some patches from Edna 6. Gram Monochord, one of my favorite all-time patches. Thorsten, hey, hope you're fine as well over there in Germany. Eugene Dulcimer. And I mean, I may not be absolutely savvy when it comes to world instruments, and I mean, there's so much that you can explore with foreign cultures and foreign sounds. But I love the sound of world instruments used in a Western context. So when you replace a regular guitar lick or something like that, and instead of playing it on acoustic, playing it on these kind of ethnic sounding instruments. I mean, that's wrong. I pretty much assume to play it that way, but I just like the colors of the sounds there. But you still can bring in these like ethnic flavors into your compositions with just these kind of sample performances of certain articulations that you don't have in other instruments. What controller keyboard are you using? That's the Complete S61 Mark III. So these are all from, as I've said, Edna World 6. And so, and last but not least, I love the harp Celeste patch from Time Micro from Orchestra Tools. Very nice. So the ethnic winds section is obviously quite broad and long as well. Great sounds there. So, lots of stuff there. That's Dark Era. Again, did a stream with Dark Era if you're interested in more of the sounds. Some of these. And then we got the Middle Eastern instruments. And by the way, just as a reminder, if I use key switch patches and don't use expression maps, I usually put the key switches right next to the instrument name here because you just can't remember all the key switches of instruments. So it's just a little helper here to remind myself which key switch range controls the different articulations. You also have the Balkan Orchestra. I do have the Balkan Orchestra. Right now, not in this template, but I do have the sounds. Now with the Turkish ney. That's Edna World 6 again. Great sounds in there as well. And for example, usually I say the CC5 is what I use for timing and release control and something like that. But in this case, I put CC5 on the tuning. So don't touch your face. So if there's some kind of special information that I need, I put that right next to the patch name. Sometimes, if that is not enough, I utilize the notepad and have more information on the patch available here. There are some in my template that utilize that as well, but not on these patches right now. Various flute effects. I just bought Alex Pfeffer's bundle, and the Spansuri phrases are just awesome. Available on all keys and just little phrases, but great for bringing in some flavor. Great stuff. Ethnic strings, obviously you can't miss out on these. There's these are again Eduardo Tarolantes libraries. These are great for layering in with other stuff. I think they have different key switches for different rhythms, or maybe that is the rhythm. So they sound decent on its own, on their own, but they really shine in context with other instruments. That is Dark Era again. Keep going. We have some ethnic Mellotts. I mean, you could argue that the Mellotts that we had in the percussion section already, like the ADO drums and stuff like that, that technically that's ethnic as well. Sound irons and no, that's the fracture sound. And for example, this says key CC14 because that specific library has a key kind of the tonal center of the instrument, which is the overtones and everything. And I put that on controller CC14. So whatever I work on, so if I say I have a Q in E minor, then I can just bring that 2 up and have that tonal center of that instrument in E minor. So I'm a big fan of having as much control as possible and shaping the sounds without actually ever touching the GUI, just because it's faster for me to work that way. And as I said and explained in the beginning, these little MIDI bits in the beginning always reset the template to its initial default status when I start working on a new track. And everything that happens after these little MIDI bits is what determines the sound of the track and the cue. So yeah, then we have sound are in circle bells. Great sound there. Sound are in bumblong. I think these are all in World 6 as well. That section is also not done yet, so I want to actually add some more into these. Going forward, we have, and obviously in the Mellotts section here, I have some Omnisphere as well. Let's activate that for a second. So there we have, for example, Omnisphere itself has a ton of great sound sources for Mellotts as well. Even within the basic library that it comes with, there is some great belts and vibe stuff. Let me open this. Glockenspiel. So there's tons of sources that I didn't initially want to load all at once into the template, and I load these patches depending on what I need for a certain track that I'm working on, and really have them only for that specific purpose or sound that I'm looking for. But then you also have these like third-party extensions, mid-dissonance and unfinished libraries and stuff like that. For example, for the world stuff that I've been doing, the unfinished Pangea is just an amazing library. Great stuff there. So sometimes you just need these kind of patches underneath the track, and then you use these locally on a per project basis. So that's for ethnic. Let's close that. Then I obviously have some guitar-based stuff. So Heaviosity, scoring guitars and scoring bass. Some loop-based stuff. I more use the pedals than the extra grooves. So there's some good stuff in there. Just more playable bass there. Then the scoring guitar, this is all Heaviosity, by the way. Drones and phrases. I usually like to use the reversed phrases more than the regular ones, because the regular ones are very recognizable. So you can kind of use them once and then they're gone. But the reversed ones are are way better to put into a track and to just create some nice atmosphere. And the pulses are great too. That's that. Then we have the Orange Tree sampled slide guitar. I mean, it's not the same as the real thing, but underneath the track, it can work really good. I had a bunch of cute, let me see. I did some cues that were used in Bear Grylls and I think in Naked and Afraid that use heavily these kind of let me see if I can play that. So there you hear the mouth harp that I showed earlier. Does that sound actually come through? Yes, it does. So a lot of these like yeah, a lot like pretty cool. Chocolate Audio Uproar Raw. For putting underneath the track, that's one of the best guitars I have ever encountered in the sample world. Goes down to G. Sweet track, is that DocuScores? No, that is not DocuScores. That was another library I wrote that for. But DocuScores has quite a bunch of similar cues. Just to showcase one that I used that sound as well. We did that. If you want to listen to some of the stuff, DocuScore, you can go to docu-scores.com, so you can listen to these kind of tracks. One that I did is this one uses a lot of these sounds as well. I did some live guitar on this one as well. But I think it's layered with that slide guitar. But yeah, I recorded some live stuff on top of that as well. So Medusa, I showed these patches in the Medusa walkthrough. And for example, you said, I mean, I don't know why I did the double. So sometimes I have the information on the patches in the notepad here, but actually it was able to fit right there. Not really convincingly real, but sometimes works great in a track. This is dynamic sound sampling, just a mute acoustic guitar. I just like the sound of it. And they also have this acoustic Ebo patch. Great for some organic pad sound stuff. That's a neat little, again, the funny little instrument that does only one thing. That's from Loop de la Creme, which is just a wah-wah guitar. Multiple controllable and tons of round robins is just one key. So you can either play it yourself or you have some loops in the upper range. And with a mod where you control the wah-wah. It's really a fun little library. And it's great for transition stuff like that. When you just, or when you do more like these hip hop style tracks in like Top Model and America's Next Top Model and stuff like that, when you use a little bit more urban sounds. And these are great for transitions, like just one beat or two beats, and you go into the next section. And you have that amped as well. Fun little library. Last week I did a stream on the rhythmic cinema devices from Audio Ollie and Performance Samples, the Yuki. I actually want to use some more of these sounds in the template. I don't have much of them in yet. Cool stuff there. And one of the major surprises, I think I'm going to do a dedicated stream on this one, is the Best Service Arabic Oud. This thing is a gem, absolutely, if you don't play Oud yourself. It comes with only a footprint of 400 megabytes, but it sounds like it is a 20 gigabyte library. I just need to find where it is. There we go. So this one, and it has tons and tons of different articulations. It's incredible for the memory footprint it has. You even have a strum tremolo. Then you have tremolo, but you also have that tremolo auto repeat. And listen to the dynamic range. It's just, I have no idea how they did it. How much memory? So that's my laptop right there. That's using close to 40 gigs of memory. My main slave, so to say, my slave PC is utilizing, I think that's the most, 90 gigs. There's 120 available in this one. And my master machine uses Vienna right around 30, 31 gigs. So overall, there's 90, 120, 160 gigabytes of RAM spread out to 3 different machines. So then 2 weeks ago, I did a stream on Native Instruments' new Sunburst Deluxe, which I really like. And what I did, I loaded because it's very CPU intensive, I had to put it onto another system. But I loaded the clean preset without any processing from the amp and effects in the instrument. So that way I can shape the sound whatever I want. Actually, that's wrong. That happens when you copy patches. So I can put, in this case, I have the THU slate on it. I can put whatever sound. Oh yeah. I can also go to have a decent rock sound and do this. If I need a little bit of delay, just, or actually, what? So. So can do a rock sound, but I can also go into something completely different. Did the same, just on a different patch. I did not even put the THU in there. So that's the same thing pretty much, just the fingered instead of picked, which is a little bit more soft. So yeah, that's pretty nice to have the choice there and utilize different sounds within the same pad just by changing the amp setting here. When you turn the amp off, it's really just the clean DI signal of the guitar. So there's that. And then they have the picked acoustic finger, which is pretty much the same thing. But you also can access these pre-made loops. And then same with pick, but I think I chose different loops there. If you need a little bit more dreamy, we just add a little bit of guitar black hole. Can even add a little bit more and then do the harmonics. Craig will not like that. So, but it needs to go fast. And I mean, then I also have some pre-made audio tracks if in case I want to record something live and just plug it in, be ready to go. Vocal section is not as big as I would like it to be. So besides the usual suspects, Oceania, and a little bit of Lacrimosa. The arcs are great. I used these extensively on one of I just released. By the way, in case you want to know, on Bandcamp I released the soundtrack for Eden Tomorrow for the game that I did last year, and these choir patches are extensively used on one of the tracks on that soundtrack. So if you want to, I would appreciate if you head over and grab it. I really like how it turned out. We recorded the strings live in Hanover, layered a bunch of string quartet on top. But yeah, this track here uses a lot of that choir. Yeah, so much for that. Check out Oh, now I closed it again. Let me leave the link there to my page. How they always say, if you want to support the channel, support the streams, and support, especially in these times, head over to the Bandcamp page. I have a bunch of stuff up there that is available to purchase. Appreciate any little thing you can give. Going on. Similarities, do you have an SSD disk? I have several SSD disks, and I don't know how many terabytes it is on all the different systems. I think meanwhile pretty much close to 10 or 12 terabytes, but in the end it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter, you need to separate and spread out the sample load. So it is what it is. Dorinil Music, hi, good job, thanks. Then we have the time macro and time micro patches. Very cool stuff there. I really like these sounds. Time micro is even smaller. So lots of different quiet choices there, but I feel I still don't have enough. Vocalies, heaviosity, same as the guitar and bass patches up there. Oh, not the pedals necessarily. I really love the scapes, to put them underneath a composition. So you just define the key and fire up and let it run. These are just awesome. Bunch of solo vocals, ethnic inspiration now, I think, with orchestral tools. Okay, not working. Interesting. I mean, Ethera. There's no way around not having Ethera in a template, especially Clara's voice. Actually, that should be this. Just a little processing on the solo vocals, so that's what it sounds like without processing. I love Ethera to bits. It's my most favorite vocal library ever. Still close second, Audio Imperia with Miretta's solo vocal from Jaeger. And then we have a bunch of the Ethera phrases, depending on the key I'm in. Usually you always find something that fits. And I mean, these just work great. You can, for example, say, okay, let's lay down just a bass note. Let's say we define the bass note to be D. Let's go with D. So we take the low sustains. Little tip on the side: when you hold down the sustain pedal and then you leave the track, it will keep ringing even if you get your foot off the sustain pedal until you get back and lift the sustain pedal again. So what did I play? A D. A little bit more modern. And even when you have like a patch like this one that's actually in C minor, so that's actually not working in the key. So I just tune it up. As long as you don't tune more than a semitone or a full tone, it still sounds pretty decent. If you go more, then it gets more chipmunk-like. If I go back to that long patch and lift the sustain pedal, so now it stops sounding. We can also do, I mean, one of my absolute favorite patches, not really usable out of just playing around with it because just too iconic, but that Gladiator Lisa Gerard style is just out of this world. Just listen to this. I just love that. So yeah, there's that, the vocal section, and that is likely gonna grow in the future as well. Thanks for the low note basses. You can go back to your shed. And last section, last but not least, everything synth and keys. So basic piano. That's my main piano sound pretty much. That's actually Native Instruments, the Grandeur. Love the dynamic range on this one. It may not be the most real sounding, that's for sure, but I tweaked that quite a while to get it to the sound that I just like. So it's more a matter of taste instead of having that ultra real. And I mean, recently at RAM, at my partner's studio down there, there's a mixing guy, and he just got a really, really nice grand piano in there, and there's just no comparison with none single sample library I ever have had my hands on. Nothing compares to having a great sounding piano in a room and just recording it. So, how come you don't use an 88 note controller? Um, a C7. Thanks, Ram. You're still driving? So my business partner is riding across the country to the East Coast and watching that stream in the car. Friggin' technology. Anyway. Reason for 88, yeah, for the most part, it's bass. And I'm not really good on weighted keys. So on real piano keypad. I'm not a pianist per se. And I just like the size of it, and with these octave buttons I can just switch easily to wherever I need to go. So I'm fine with that. Yeah, grandeur is my main keyboard. One of the greatest effects I ever encountered that I really love is from also in the Slate bundle, the kilohertz reverser. This is just perfect for production music. I love that. And I'm using good old trick. If you have the Waves SSL comp, there's a preset in the list, the Lily White piano. This is sonic gold on piano sounds. So that's without. That's the sound of the box. And that's with. It is not much what it does, but what it does really good. That's the same piano, just a little bit higher, and some processing, mostly for melody type of stuff. Cold piano from Wavelet. From, I think it's Wavelet, the Atmosphere album library that did. Native the Giant. For some softer tones when needed. Senfine Ambient. Oh, actually, the cold piano is from Keep Forest, from their very first, from the Dragon library. And the Senfine Ambient. Medusa. Just a different sound. Woodchester, I love that one. Fracture sound. Felt piano. Little trick, what I often do is I put the you have with the motor wheel you have these aerial pad type sounds in the back of the piano. So, and again, same mic position control that I have on all the other instruments. So on the first mic position, I actually have the piano. And I can bring that down. So I only have the pads. And then I combine that with the grandeur. So that's a great sound there as well. Midnight Grand, also fracture sound. Then Giant Soft. I think I added that for some trailer stuff recently. And I mean, you always, every now and then, need some electric piano. That's Dream Audio Tools, the LFO piano. And then last but not least, we have the synth section, which is also pretty extensive. Of course, we have the whatever I want to use, local instruments, Omnisphere, of course, for synth. Recently here I used like the L15 Stevenson Steam Band sounds or something for a track. So I kept that in there. So I can change these sounds depending on the project I'm working on in case you tuned in later. And then I have sounds that are sitting ready to go in the template. Pretty much the whole Audio Imperia photosynthesis series. These are 4 volumes. They all have great pad sounds. And they are from very soft and subtle to pretty gritty. Very cool sound. Then the Medusa Profus pad, one of the most beefy pads I've ever encountered. And the Terran pad from the same library. Very cool sounds. And then we have a lot of ARPs, again, photosynthesis, there's a bunch of stuff. Missing the keys and space from Elysian. Correct. So pretty much all the kind of ARP stuff that you need. ADO auras, always a good tool in the shed. Especially for these drama underscore type of tracks. Ref loops is great stuff as well. You can even spice them up further when you, for example, use the Slate kilohertz transgate and look through some of the presets. But I mean, it's obviously not in sync right now. So when we record something here. Let's get rid of that stuff. Oh, actually, let's go to the channel where we want to record. 2, 3, 4. That's pretty cool. Nice little sound there, but you can spice that up further by introducing this little trance gate, for example, on the patch. Quantize that, take the click off, activate that. Well, let's say, and you can choose. And then also Soundtoys has some great stuff. For example, the Penman or the Tremolator. Penman, there it is. These are great to further tweak and change these loop-based sounds and make them more your own than you would initially do. So Panman, for example, is great little tool to like this. Can move the signal left and right. Okay, say you want a half note. So, good way to create a little bit of movement in the stereo field. Nice little tool there. I mean, you can automate it with a panning, for example, as well. Good idea, by the way. So since we have the panning as a MIDI effect, we could go in here, look at the panning, and just create a curve all the way. And do it like this. So that's more or less the MIDI solution to do the same thing. So yeah, various ways lead to Rome, of course. So that's the ref loops. Obviously, way different sounds, different sound sources. Cool for layering. These low mid pulses are great as well. Some really strange stuff. Pretty cool. Then we have Heaviosity, Aeon. Just a tip on the side, if you use the Heaviosity loop-based instruments and products, make very sure that these loops are hidden in a track and never use them exposed, like just with a drum loop or something, because you can run into problems with YouTube Content ID. The systems happened to me. I used a Heaviosity loop on one track, for a library, and one of their clients bought this track of mine and got a copyright strike on YouTube from a totally different track that had nothing to do with mine. The only thing that they had in common is that they used that very same heaviosity loop for a short amount of time, and that triggered the content ID system. So make sure when you use these kind of loops to really either tweak them, mangle them, make them your own. Just don't start a track going. I mean, these are like more bass notes and stuff like that, but there are some loops that are very iconic sounding. Like this kind of stuff. I mean, you hear this in TV all over the place. And I mean, these loops are great little helpers, but they can bring you in trouble, so be careful there. So then we have a bunch of Brahms stuff. Again, Alex Pfeffer's string theories, tonal hits, great stuff. I mean, you know where you can get your Brahms from. That's a lot of Keep Forest stuff. So that kind of stuff. And then we have some synth bass again, Medusa. That is one of my all-time favorite sub basses. And the sub sign from Spitfire's Iceni. Very great sound there. So that's pretty much it. Damn, that took longer than expected to, but I mean, we went through all the sounds that are current in my template. So I would suggest to just take a short little break. Go here. No, not go there. So I'll be back in a minute, and then why don't we write something with it, huh? That's what a template is for, to write some music. And I'll be back in a second, and let's see what we can do if we do something. So talk in a minute. So, it looks like I forgot to mute my mic. Actually, sorry for that. Uh, so I hope your speakers are still alive. Um, Question is, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna write? Any suggestions? Wishes? Honestly spoken, I dropped all Eon and Evolve stuff out. We heard this all before. Ah, true. That's right. I mean, that's why you can bring in some other libraries like Project Chaos or stuff like that, Danny James, and then Omnisphere obviously has a ton of stuff that you can utilize. So like here some I actually had Project Chaos open recently. Some great stuff in there to work from there. Some Mick Gordon sounded like stuff. Well, F you. Not gonna happen. Something entirely orchestral, possibly. Well, we just went through the whole template with all these friggin' sounds, and you want orchestra only. Let's kill all of these. So, okay, there we go. Now we have strings, brass, woodwind. What did I build the template for to have all that other shit available? No, I think orchestral only is not likely to happen. I mean, I need to work on some reality type scores anyway. So why not just combine the boring with the unhappy? I need to do some drama type underscore droney, little bit tension type of stuff, and also some more action oriented stuff like chase scenes or hunting scenes, stuff like that. So why don't we start on that one? That needs to be a little bit faster. 144, let's say. Let's save this. Okay. Let's start with some percussion stuff. Or maybe, no, let's start with a decent ARP sound. Let's go with some Omnisphere here. Okay, so that's loaded. Omnisphere it is. Something I like to work with Omnisphere, especially with the unfinished libraries, to get something like of an idea, of a starter, of where we can go, or even the mid-dissonance stuff is great for that kind of stuff. I mean, in terms of production music, a lot of time what you're looking for is like 1 minute, 1 minute 30. You usually don't need much more because, especially in these type of reality shows, what they cut is like 10, 20 seconds and then they go on to the next cue or to the next scene. So these are, so to say, actually pretty easy to do because you don't need to have the next Beethoven composition. Sometimes you can stay within one, not only within one key, but within the same chord. Do the whole thing in friggin' E minor. Just change some sounds, do some spicy elements, some rises, some stops, and you're good to go. Uh, when you write that kind of music, think of it not necessarily from a composer perspective and how you can do the best cue you've ever done, but from an editor perspective. So you want to convey one emotion and that one emotion straight, and you want to give edit points and possibilities for the editors to combine cues in various ways. So usually you deliver stems and an ambient mix and stuff like that. So they can use that type of cue over and over in different versions, variations. And when they bring it together, like use the ambient version and then bring in the full version with drums and everything, and they cut it, you don't want to have a cue that starts in E minor and ends in F minor because you modulate one half up in between. And then suddenly, when they put it together in the edit bay, they realize that the cues don't match and don't fit. And suddenly it sounds weird because you have two different keys. So that's why you usually want to stick to one key, one tempo, no tempo changes, and stuff like that to make life for the editors as easy as possible, because the easier you make their life with your cues, the more they use your cues, place that in the shows, which essentially earns you the money in the end. So try to have that mindset when, especially writing music for reality TV and TV shows and stuff like that. You want to make the life of the editors easier. That's what it's all about. So when you get a briefing, for example, that says we need pulsing underscores, like for a challenge, or think of game shows when these ticking sounds run when they think about the answer and stuff like that. All that type of music, there is a huge demand for that kind of stuff, and so that's why it's sometimes cue with 3 or 4 instruments can earn you a lot of money when it's used over and over again, because it just fits the mood. So I think of it more as mood setters instead of actual full compositions. And then also what you have to keep in mind, got my coffee, missed something. Well, pretty much the most important information of the whole stream, you missed all about that. So nothing to worry about. uh, and what I want to say, so the editor thing with writing with editors in mind, and also writing. Oh yeah, that's what I want to say. Like when you build that track, try to introduce new elements like every 4 bars, at least every 8 bars, better every 4. So something new is, because you are likely to stay within the same key or within the same chord, you want to have elements introduced every 4 bars to keep the interest going, to raise the tension, to keep it flowing. Otherwise, it gets boring pretty soon. So introduce elements as often as possible and do breakdowns and contrast between the full energy and very soft energy, so that you, if you have bolts to the wall from beginning to end, you don't have nothing to make it sound bolts to the wall because you're missing the quiet parts. But that's regular advice on writing music. Anyway, so let's jump straight in. Let's start with 4 bars, and I try to keep this one as simple as possible. So we really just lay down like in E minor, or at least I think of minor, bass section, and I want to have that mod wheel working a little bit, but also developing. So like this. What we hear, we don't hear anything. Why is that? because the mod expression is down. Thank you for that. And that can actually be all the way up. Okay, so starting point. It sounds a little bit to the right. Make sure it's centered. So, yeah, that sound is a little bit to the right. I want to have it more centered. So what I'm actually going to do is move that right a little bit over. That was too much already. That sounds better. So duplicate that. Next one, let's introduce some of these ref sounds, pulsing. So we are in E. I like this one. I like that one. Okay. Very subdued, but I think that will work. Move the key information over here. Would you be so kind and show your screen again? I'm so sorry, guys. Of course. There you go. Watching from Kenya in self-isolation. Well, best wishes to Kenya. Hope you're doing well other than all the crazy things going on around. So, let's bring the volume up a little bit on this one. I like that. So we have these two elements. Bah, bah, bah. This is okay. Start with hello piano. I'm likely going to repeat that, but maybe we also do it only every 8 bars. Let's introduce the low end. Just bringing that together with the piano. Okay, so that's done. Just making sure everything is in the correct length. There we go. Okay. Introducing some kind of pad in the beginning. That's ARP. I want to have pad. like that one. Okay. Give me a bar. So very simple, and I stretched the change here on. That's pretty much an 8-bar loop now on top of the 4 changes that we introduced. So we can repeat that. And on the second repetition, I just want to add some very light tremolo strings on top. So let's see if we find something either in time macro. Yeah, the slow tremolos should work great. So actually move that. And make things simple, what I want to do is automate the expression a little bit on this one, not the volume. Don't want to change the volume. Bring the expression pretty much all the way down on this second one. That's too far down. So move that up a little. My backup is running. Hearing a little bit of a string rhythm there, so like dum 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 dum. So that will be starting very subtle here. That's 8th notes. Well, give me a step record, please. Just a little bit of rhythm. I played very subtle. Overall, what I want to do is keep growing, and I want to duplicate that in the violas. I hear Colenia plugs. Yeah, me too. I do hear Colenia plugs. Let's bring them in. But not the low ones. I want the high ones. Ah, there we go. So, just straight quarter notes. Please go on, nothing to see here. I want to do a little bit of a 1-bar transition to introduce the new elements. after these 8 bars. So we go into our, and this is where it really helps with that visibility stuff. So I want to go to the rises. Maybe do 2 bars. Yeah. So thankfully these are tempo synced, so we can easily just put them onto the one and make sure that way that they are sitting in time. Go to percussion and do a little bit of a roll there, just on 1 bar. And the low end actually comes from the sub bass that we have there. I also want to introduce some percussion stuff. Ba, 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 ba. I don't want to go too ethnic. Too ethnic. So let's go with something more. Plastic bottle. Frame. I like that one. It's very subtle, but enough to give a little bit of a movement there. So 16th, and I don't want to hard quantize these. I want to just make sure we have a little bit of a randomness in there. Listening on its own. That was not intended. Because I think that actually was a 30-second there. I don't want to do just like a little flam there. Oh, I accidentally muted my mic, so that one needs to go there. And my mic should be solo safe. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. Should be enough to get us going. And layer in. Okay, make that nice and easy. Don't go overcomplicated. So layer in some metal stuff. That one's good. So let's add this, 2 bars. Not too loud. Bit more. So let's see. Duplicate. Okay. From the beginning. A little bit loud for my taste, and so I want to bring that, well, that metal element there on the top. I'll bring that down a little bit. And also what I want to do is on all my heaviosity loops, I have the mod wheel on the filter, so I want to record a little bit of that. So just random movements pretty much. It just helps to change it up a little bit and have that more organic movement underneath. It's moving in and out a little bit. That's not the correct fader. Actually, yeah, that one. I'll put a little bit of delay on this. Okay. And for the beginning, again, we make live a little bit easy here, but that's fine. We need a transition sound, so we're gonna take where is it? Where is it? The stings. Let's use. Nope. Okay, I think that's fine. Just this one as a transition sound. The only thing that I need to do is to make sure that didn't even record. That we have it sitting correctly on the beat. So then we need to have it start here, I think. No, it's pretty much a full bar. It's even more than a full bar. Yeah, that sounds good. which means we need to start that cue from here. That's why it's always good to have like 2 bars spare in the beginning. And take out the click. I want to add one more of these elements that we talked about before, these damage spring drum effects or something. Something like this in the beginning. Actually move that a little bit to the left. So I need panning on this one. I want to bring that a little bit to the left. That's right. Yeah, left. Okay. And what really helps at these moments is also to, on the visibility panel, I can say, okay, just show me the data between the locators. So that gets rid of all the other tracks that we have and only shows me the current available data. So I definitely want to introduce some more stuff. Some more stuff on the guitar side here. I want to add either the deluxe I actually want to try to let's see what that does. There was one error because I'm playing the B in the strings, which give us like a diminished chord. We need to go to the G there when we want to stay on the to make it compatible with the diminished one. And then we can change the pattern here. Maybe change there. Let's see what that does. Okay, that's a bit too much there. So let's just keep it ringing here. Definitely need some more percussion on that second part. So let's see, either just some regular drums. That was bad anyway. That was bad. Try to go with the flow a little bit more. That was not too bad. So let's straight 8th notes. I think I did, no, 16th. Don't want to hard quantize. Let's see, how bad was it? That was bad. In context. Why don't you just keep simply going there? Bad, bad, bad. Move that one there. Stop it there. Do a little bit of an. Okay. Okay, the break was pretty good. Keep that there, that's fine. Actually cut that And delete that. We have that on the 1. Okay, good. Brass. So we do have these swells. I want to add these. One, two, three, four. Nothing too bold there. I think that sounds nice together with the diminished one when I go to the F sharp. I even hear, we were talking about that before, that type of kind of slide guitar. A minor over F sharp. Actually, don't want to go too crazy, so I'll rather do in C6. Or A minor with a C in the bass. So that means the strings can stay on the... That can be the same. That can be the same as well. Oh, come on. Open up. Open up, please. So time macro changes to, yeah, that's a nice movement there in the strings. So we go from sorry for the dropouts, it's due to the streaming. Okay, move that contrary. Now we have so let's see. So there we have. So that's going to duplicate. Duplicate. So we have some more stuff here. We have the bass. It's doing a C here. And that's a perfect part to bring a 4-bar riser and bring that to a close. Oh wait, just so you guys know, I think I'm going to finish that one soon and actually go maybe doing a stream tomorrow again and keep working on this, or maybe finish it during the day and do some streaming later. I want to I have 2, 3, 4, or 5 ideas at the same time. Okay, one after the other. First, what I want to do is bring in a riser for the ascendance. There we go. So since this is a local instrument, I can change whatever I want. It will save with the track and will be the same next time I open it up. Design granular. Let's see what it sounds like. Too bold. Yeah, I like that one. And automate the volume. So come in from silence. Okay, let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's done. That's exactly 4 bars. Well, we need that guy as well from the beginning. Make that all out. No, we don't need that. Okay, next idea. I want to bring in some of the reverse guitars. Just on the transitions. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just very subtle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. That's enough. I don't need more there. It's just to give a little bit of flavor. Just want to have some repeating pattern on top. See what that sounds like. Nah, that's not the one. That might work. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was badly played, I guess. Nope, not this. So let's see. solo. Let's fix that a bit. Can easily spot that I didn't really know what to play here. Okay. You know what? The first one was good. So I'm gonna just, I'm lazy today, so I'm gonna do the easy way. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That one is C. And the last one goes again. Okay. Okay, so that's done. Let's see what it sounds like together. Yeah, that shall conclude the stream for tonight. I'm actually done. So I'm gonna catch some sleep and keep working on that tomorrow. But I like where we are at. So it's not that much, but show data. So hope you get something out of that stream a little bit. Was a lot of nerdy talk and what libraries are in the template and stuff like that. So, but I do hope you liked it. And if there are any questions, post below the video. Let me know what you think about the template, what your template looks like. And yeah, I can't promise that I'll be online tomorrow, but sometime this week we definitely gonna keep working on this one and do some more stuff with it. So this is what it sounds like. Till now. Yeah, that's a good start. Well, thanks so much, and see you soon, I guess. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.